It is horrific. 4 years of Russia's war on Ukraine and Vladimir Putin accused of abducting more than 19,000 innocent Ukrainian children. Newsmax foreign correspondent Shelby spoke with one of these children who has been reunited with their family. She joins us live right now from Kiev. Shelby.
Hi, Bianca. Yeah, the kidnapping of Ukrainian children is considered a war crime for which Russian President Vladimir Putin and Russia's Commissioner for Children's Rights are wanted by the International Criminal Court. As you mentioned, I sat down with one Ukrainian child who was stolen by Russia. Here's his story.
Sasha is 15 years old, and he is one of the tens of thousands of Ukrainian children kidnapped by Russia during the war. He's also one of the rare few who made it back home. Newsmax spoke with Sasha about the trauma, heartbreak, and harrowing ordeal he has had to endure because of Russia's full-scale invasion.
When the war started, I was in Mariupol. At the beginning, I thought it would last just a few days and then be over. But when the shelling started, I had never heard explosions like that before. It was scary because I didn't understand what was happening. It was the first time in my life that I experienced something like that. We stayed in the basement for about a month, and then I was injured in my left eye.
How were you injured?
We were outside in the yard cooking food when the shelling started. I ran to our apartment, but as I reached the entrance of the building, there was an explosion, and I felt something burning in my eye. My mother and I turned to Ukrainian soldiers for help, and they took me to a military hospital. I received first aid, and we stayed there. But soon after, it was surrounded by Russian soldiers, and we were taken captive. My mother and I told the Russians that we were civilians, but they didn't care. We were then called up for filtration. After interrogating my mother, they took her to another tent. I waited for about 2 hours before people who introduced themselves as child services arrived. They told me they were taking me away from my mother. They gave no explanation, saying it would only be for a couple of days. I was then transferred to a hospital in Donetsk, in occupied Ukraine. When I arrived, I had no documents with me. Doctors asked about my family, and I told them my story, that I had a grandmother in Ukraine. They eventually posted my photo on Facebook, saying I was looking for her. And that is how she found me, through social media. My grandmother began collecting documents, contacted the office of the president and our city council to help bring me back. She gathered all the necessary papers and came to Russian-occupied Ukraine to get me. We then traveled through Russia, through the Baltic countries, then Poland, and finally back to Ukraine.
You don't know where your mom is, or you don't have contact with your mother?
No, I don't know. It's been 4 years now, and there's still no information about her. The Russians said that if my grandmother didn't come take me, they would send me to an orphanage and then to a Russian family. Of course, I didn't want that. So for me, being Ukrainian means being independent, speaking the Ukrainian language, supporting each other, not forgetting about humanity, because that is the most important thing right now. And I would like to ask other countries to help Ukraine end this war, because every day more and more people are dying.
Ukraine has verified that more than 19,000 children have been kidnapped by Russia, but the Kremlin claims it has relocated up to 700,000 since its full-scale invasion began. The forced transfer of children is considered a war crime, and Vladimir Putin now faces an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court. And as Russia's war grinds on, Ukraine fears time is running out to bring these children home. Shelby.